Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Picardian. Hey, it's me, Todd Novak.
No, I'm going to get to that. I was just giving a little space for the empty seats here. Rob was, he chickened out right before, moaning about something at his shop.
Yeah.
But he was supposed to be here, but he said, "Man, I'm really sorry." And he showed me a picture of his shop. In fairness, there's like 20 amps in there, so I get it. Whatever.
The flux capacitor was gone.
No.
Yeah. So, anyways, hey everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. Wait.
Yes.
See, when you throw me off, I have a rhythm in it.
Hey, it's me, Todd Novak.
Let me try that again. I'll clap. Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled that you are listening to our show. That's how that's supposed to go.
That was my owl impersonation.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Well, you say this. What you'll say? You'll say this episode. The part of Todd will be played by Tony, and
that would
part
be
of Tony
fun.
will also be
April
played by
Fools.
Tony.
If we do one on April Fools, that's what we'll do.
Yes, that would be very interesting.
I like that idea.
I'd probably be a better Jared than Tony. I don't know about that.
I'll ask you all the hard questions.
Yeah. Anyways, hey, so we obviously have a guest on the line, and without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself, guest?
Oh, is that me? Or is there someone else?
Boy, if the questions are gonna be answered like that tonight, this is gonna be a long show.
Yes. Yes, it's you.
Okay. Yes, my name is Tyler Petito or Potato, depending on who you talk to.
I say
And
potato.
I am the
Oh, because the EI.
engineer at Acorn. It's just. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just potato.
Just
potato,
say it's pronounced Schultz.
It's pronounced Acorn.
Yes. Yes.
Who are you with again?
Yes. So Tyler's with Acorn Amps.
Of course.
I'll just throw that in there.
That's
I was going to say you do that.
Thanks, I did.
The part of Tyler Petito will be played by Todd Novak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're obviously going to, you can tell, we're going to have a good time tonight. Tyler's a great dude, and we love talking with him. And it's been a minute since we've had him on a show. He's been up to an awful lot. All you have to do is pay attention to the madcap madness. I didn't really have anything to follow a madcap, so I just went with madness on Instagram. Very, very how would you want to say innovative?
Yes. Industrious.
Industrious, maybe. Yes, not innovative. Wait, yes, innovative and industrious. All those things.
All the in words.
Yes. And another in word. He's an engineer.
Engineer.
Yes.
Yes, I get it. I get
yeah.
it. That's actually an N word, but
See what
not
you did.
an N word.
Yes,
but
I'm trying.
you're tricky. You're tricky.
So Tony has been sick for a bit, and I had 2 fillings today, and you guys are lucky. My mouth, quite literally, I looked at Tony. I said, "Oh, it just stopped," because I couldn't feel my tongue and my lower jaw. I was just
He's still drooling quite a bit.
yeah. It was weird, and it just
There's a Novocaine Novak joke in there somewhere. Like I was going to throw it out there. But
yeah.
it's like Novocaine.
Yes.
Novacaine.
Novocaine.
I like that.
I've definitely
Nice.
not run into that one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hey, everybody.
We got to write that one up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Put it on a shirt. No, don't put it on a shirt.
Yes.
Anyways, okay. The listeners are probably like crashing into cars at this point if they're driving. It's like, what the heck is going on?
This show is a waste of my time.
It won't be, I promise you. We're going to
No.
go over some great stuff.
Yes.
Why don't we first? Let's start off with a quick announcement.
Quick.
We always say we love listening to or love getting notes from our listeners.
Yes.
Mark Paget,
yes.
longtime supporter of the show, and he always chimes in, is very gracious and thoughtful with the things he recommends a lot of stuff. Hey, maybe you guys try this? Maybe you guys try this? And Tony and I are always trying to think of stuff to keep it engaged without, that's why they've gotten so long. I don't know if you've noticed. Anyways, he said, "Hey, I got a great suggestion in an effort to engage the listeners and get them to be able to interact. And I was like,
Okay.
love that.
That's perfect.
So he said, why don't the listeners email their would you rather answers after hearing it on the podcast? We did talk about that before, in all fairness, listeners. So don't act like, well, that's we tried that. But let's try that again.
Let's do it.
And that's what I promised Mark. I said, sometimes you have to swing twice at the old pinata to get the candy. So
Is that what they say?
that's what I said.
Okay.
So anyways, why don't you listen to the Would You Rather, and you can DM or email what you think your answer would be if you want to. And we'll pick one and then we'll read it off before the next one.
Okay.
A little simple something simple.
I like that.
Okay.
But it's nice. It's nice to hear from the listeners.
Yeah. Do that anyways. Regardless if we're going to pick yours or not, we still want to know. Anyways, that's the announcement. Aside from like a load of guests that I've been busy.
Yeah.
Filling the calendar with. So
Very nice.
yes. Without further ado,
Yes.
let's move on to what's going on in our music world this week. Starting off with the voluptuous Tanya Blonsky.
Yes.
And then we'll check in with Tyler Schultz.
Well, this week,
I'm going to make it stick.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I just realized what you said.
I've already contacted the local offices to have the name officially changed. So I got the paperwork printed up, and we're going to go ahead and get that going.
Perfect.
Well, this week, in my never-ending quest for be the guy that dies with the most guitars, I found, so we've talked about this before. So I own what I thought was a complete set.
A share of DH Gate?
No.
Oh.
So Epiphone released, I don't know, it was their 60th or 60th anniversary stuff several years ago. So they did like a coronet, a Wilshire, and a Crestwood, all essentially the same symmetrical body shapes with the bikini badge headstock. That's just the logo that looks like a bikini bottom that says Epiphone in it. And I found out that they released just last year or year before a Newport bass.
Do you mean a thong?
No, it looks like this.
Yeah, that's a thong.
That's not a thong.
That's a thong.
No, it's a
How do
bikini
you
badge.
not know what?
In my world, my people call it bikini badge.
Okay,
So
it's a thong.
So they released basically the same body shape, bikini badge, 2+2 headstock, bass version, and it's a short scale bass, which I dearly love. In fact,
Why?
because as a guitar player, it's an easy transition. It's not that much shorter. It's 30 and a half scale compared to a typical like 34 scale.
Yeah, it looks a lot shorter.
Yeah. Well, it looks a little shorter.
Yeah.
But one of the first basses I played was an Ampeg Little Stud, which was a short scale Ampeg bass.
Do you know the amount of restraint that is taking me right here? Keep going.
I'm glad. Anyhow, I found one of these. So all of the other three guitars that I have are all cherry. They had a cherry bass. I know you hate it, but that's okay. And I'm kind of excited because they had Zounds had a scratch and dent model for
nice.
for $299, and these things normally are like $4.50-ish street price. So I said, you know what, I'm going to try to get one, and so I did. I ordered it, and it's actually supposed to be here tomorrow. And it's
any kind of a fancy bridge on it, or
it's an interesting. It's a departure from the typical 3-point bridge that would have been on Gibsons and Epiphones in the 60s. This one actually has a separate tailpiece and a four saddle bridge. But
it's like a bar.
Well, this one actually is adjustable.
Yeah.
But anyhow, here you can look at the other. There's I made pictures of all the guitars so you can see the comparison.
Your collection of Fong.
Yes, bikini badged.
Sure.
Red guitars from Epiphone. Anyhow, I'm kind of excited because
you have all of these, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I just said, have you been listening to the podcast?
Listening. I'm just reaffirming my astonishment.
You're astonished. So anyhow,
hey, I'm just gonna let you know, if you do search bikini bottom, make sure you add that Epiphone in there, because there's gonna be a whole bunch of other photos that come up that you might not want.
Or do you?
Listen, especially if you add tailpiece to the end of that, then you get some other things too.
Yeah.
So just a note to everyone and anyone.
So
be careful.
That's an excellent. Thanks for that tip.
Be careful out there.
God, that was weird. So I've been happy with the 3 guitars that I have. I'll have a full report as to if I like the bass as much. This concludes my week in the guitar world.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Tyler, how about yourself?
So I have had a strange week, and I'm going to just go right to what I do most often, which is designing. So I did a little sneak preview at NAMM for the pedal that I made that said Epstein did kill himself, and then when you engage it adds the NT, so it says Epstein didn't kill himself. I don't know if you saw the video for that, but it was a hit.
Yeah.
So we kind of switched gears, because originally that was just cosmetic. That was just a empty pedal that had that light in it. It was intended to be a fuzz. It just wasn't ready yet, and it was supposed to be something we worked on a little bit later. But the buzz was so big on it that I just kind of threw everything aside that wasn't super important and just focused on ramping up the design of that pedal. So that's what I've been mostly working on, is the incorporating the fuzz circuit into the Epstein didn't kill himself pedal.
Now, have you already put out like pre-orders for that or anything?
We have not. I just want to make sure everything's on the up and up first. Get the because one question that came up, it's like, okay, when the pedal's off, it says Epstein did kill himself. So like some people were like, I'm not sure I want it. This needs to be an always on pedal kind of thing. So I'm adding the feature that there's a switch on it. So because I don't know if you saw it, but it didn't only just light up the didn't, it also added like devil horns and crossed out eyes to the face of Epstein on the bottom.
Yeah.
So the feature I was going to make was a switch that you could leave the didn't on, and the engaging and bypassing of the pedal would be doing just the devil horns on the side.
Yeah.
So like that's just like those little things I wanted to tweak, and of course I wanted to add like funny names for that, like because the circumstances surrounding that whole situation are insane. Like the guards fell asleep, the cameras just happened to not be recording, like. So I was going to incorporate. So it was like we were thinking about funny names. So the controls would be like, that switch might be CCT cameras on or off. Or,
Sleepy guard on or off.
Yeah, ambient like setting on the right side for the fuzz or something like that.
Yeah. Boy. Yeah, you're gonna have fun with that one.
So that's my week with gear, because like I said, I mostly just I'm swamped with designing and creating.
You're like the Spencer Gifts of pedal makers.
Yeah.
In the I mean that in the best way.
I know, I get it, and it's funny because I try to like
just wear the posters in the back. That's what I want to know.
I try not to get into that realm of stuff, but it's just one of those things. I think I just
wait a minute. You try not to get in that. Okay, we'll save this for the interview. All right.
Todd, what about you?
Well, I basically got back and just I was so energized by all the stuff that we were around and everything. I've just been noodling, and I made sure, because usually, like if I'm trying to write new stuff, I have the guitars that I usually play live with. Those are the ones that I write on typically. But in this case, I came back and I said, no, I'm going to mix things up. I'm going to set up as like a sideboard, and I'm going to, I'm just going to, whenever I hit like a new thing that I'm liking, a new riff that I'm liking, I'm quite literally going to try it with each guitar, and find out how that sounds different, how it feels, because that's the whole reason you have a bunch of different guitars, because well, not the whole reason, but if you're using them to write and play live with, you don't want to drag a whole ton of guitars up there if you're, just a little guy and in a little band and a little club.
Chaos.
Right. But I do try to honor, like, hey, this song was written on this guitar. That's why I've now limited those ones to just a couple. But I wanted to make sure I wasn't like getting myself stuck in a sort of a
Rut.
Gear rut, and trying to open it up, and that was kind of fun. So pulled out the Cabernita a little bit, and went back to the Les Paul Special, and even pulled up the Jazz Schmastered, the offset telly thing.
Oh, yes.
And I don't want to say Jazz Bastard because I believe that's actually the name of one of Rock and Roll Relics.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
You are not mistaken.
Yes. So anyways, it was just a lot of fun. It's nice to say, like, great. Oh, hey, old buddy, this is what you feel like there. I get it.
Well, we did repair for the longest time. Like, so our Acorn was repair forever.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things after we switched gears to doing just pedals and amps full time. One of the things I miss is that was part of the troubleshooting process, or at least like the final check of a certain piece of gear, is we would test it with single coils, humbuckers, different guitars. So it gave me the opportunity to do what you were talking about, to play a bunch of different guitars just to make sure everything was functioning and sounding good. Because most of the time I'm not asking the customer like, hey, what guitar are you playing? I just want to make sure it sounds good across the board.
Yeah.
So I do miss that, and I haven't done that in a while. So maybe you've inspired me to maybe start pulling out the guitars, and so maybe the listeners as well. If you're listening, it's some good advice. Start pulling out those different guitars. It helps you write different types of material.
It absolutely does.
I love it. Sometimes I'm just moving to a different room as well. That's something I do to get inspired, because the room has a sound, right? So if I get like writer's block and I've, go switch guitars, do this, move into a different room, move outside, and then a song pops out and it's like, yes. But to your point, like you wrote that song in this configuration, you feel like to be loyal to it, you gotta kind of replicate that. But can't necessarily do that all the time.
Well, and getting to the making sure it's like we always have to put in breaks in the songs, and they're like, seriously, why do you got to change guitars again? As I'm not doing it to like be a, I don't know, prima donna or whatever. It's like, no, this one, it doesn't sound right on the other one. It just flat out doesn't sound right. It doesn't feel right when I'm playing, because maybe it's like different pick dynamics or stuff like that. So that stuff all matters,
string gauges,
man.
Pick dynamics, feel, neck size, all that stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyways, that's always good fun. I love doing that.
Absolutely.
All right. Hey, you know what? Speaking of a bunch of guitars, the best way to put your pedals together
I thought we were speaking of guitars.
is using Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
I would agree with you.
I mean, if if you're looking at all those guitars, it's like, how the heck am I going to get these pedals together?
You know what impressed me? We didn't talk about this, but
Yes.
at the NAMM show,
Yeah.
at a lot of the pedal areas,
Yes.
I was impressed by the number of people that use Tour Gear Design patch cables on their demo boards.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense because there's
yes.
all the different lengths.
Yes,
They got a really small profile.
they're flat.
They're flat.
They've got
And
a
they got the
tiny,
different-
teeny, tiny little
They got
end.
S shape and C shape, so side to top and top to side.
And I hear that they are going to come out with the W shape.
yes, at some point.
Yes.
Anyways, please go head over to Tour Gear Designs patch cables. You're gonna want to get these. At some point, you're gonna give in. Just give in. We've been telling you about it for so long.
You need
It
them.
feels great. Just do it.
They're the
And then
best.
you're gonna put in the guitar knobs in the coupon code.
Yes.
And you're gonna save 15 flippin' percent.
Flippin' percent.
15 flippin' percent. Thank you to our pals in Canada, tourgeardesigns.com,
Yes.
for making these things and supporting our Four on the Floor. Tony.
Let me get a little bit of this.
Sorry, Tyler. 1, 2, 3. Four on the floor. All right. Tyler Petito, a.k.a. Tyler Schultz. What is your four on the floor?
Okay, I'm going to start off with a bigger brand. Maybe you've heard of them, JHS.
No.
This is a fun story though, and there's a reason why I have this pedal. Is they were doing a YouTube live, and Emily Harpus was on with Russ. Most of you know who she is, and she was doing. They had done a variant of their 3 series with her Uncle M character. You familiar with this?
Okay, got it.
Okay, so they did a contest right there on the live, and they asked a question, and I was the first person to answer it, and I won all 3 of their pedals.
Whoa!
That they
Wow,
were
that's
making a
really
joke
cool.
about.
That's pretty fun.
Right? I don't typically win stuff, so I was happy that I was jumped on the trigger on that. So the Septum Overdrive,
Oh
the
my!
Uncle M Incorporated JHS variant, Emily Hopkins, love her to death, love Russ to death. That's the first pedal. The second pedal is actually was a booth mate of ours at NAMM. Was Takalis. Have you heard of them? The Greek company.
Takalis. I don't remember. running
Takalis
into them.
Auto Works. It's TSAKALIS.
Huh.
We did some trading with some booth mates, and they traded me one of their 6. It's called 6 SAX.
TKALIS.
TSA
TSA.
TSA
Yep.
KALIS. Takalis.
Got it. So
I think that's how you say
TSA
it. The
twice?
Greek.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I got it. Yeah, got it.
Get out of here.
How did we not see them? I don't recall.
Well,
I'm
that-
gonna have to
that
look. 'Cause
booth-
maybe I did see it.
that booth was driving me crazy.
Oh, it was crazy. It was
That booth was. It was insane to be
Yeah,
at that
it
booth. I mean, it
was-
was ground control audio, summer school electronics,
Yep.
Earthquaker devices.
Yep.
Boss was there. We were right next to Beatronics, like
yeah.
Brown amplification,
It was.
Cunningham. It was insane.
We talked about this on the last show, man. Like it was just like that could have been an entire row, but it was a single
Yeah.
booth, and that was just
Yeah.
kind of madness.
Yeah, we were so happy to be a part of that. That was pretty darn cool.
That is fun.
I'll tell you one pedal I want to have on my board, which I'll just say real fast. Summer School Electronics had the greatest thing I saw at NAMM, and it was they had their business card holder.
Yeah. Oh yes,
Was-
yes.
They were like, it was a boost pedal, and it said Business Booster on it. And I just, oh my gosh, that's exactly my style.
Dig
It's
it.
like, oh, I need one of those so bad.
Now, is there a reason you
nice.
weren't handing out real acorns at the show this year?
Man, Tony.
I'm sorry. I expected at least an Acorn.
Oh, that's so.
Yeah, I'm leaving Todd to like check Tony. I like that.
I'm checking Tony on that one.
I wish there was like a video feed because Tony will say something and then I would just look at Todd. And
the
Todd
camera would zoom in on my
of it.
face, like going, "What did I just smell?"
What was that?
Yeah. If only we were Joe Rogan.
Ah, yes.
All right. Okay. Wow. I don't know how we missed that, but doggone it, that now I got to check in with them. So I'm gonna connect with him and see if we can get him on the show. It's a callus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The third pedal,
Yes.
OCE, is their wrench pedal. I
Okay.
don't know if you've had a chance to see or play that. It's a freaking awesome fuzz pedal, and it actually has a wrench, like a real wrench, like riveted to the front of it.
Oh yeah. I saw those. Yeah.
Pedal.
Yep.
And they got ones with hammers and all kinds of doodads.
Yeah.
There's a
They
pair of
even have a
pliers.
pedal. The pliers one. They have a pedal that I think is hilarious. It's I'm trying to remember exactly what it's called. It's a variation of Clapton is God, but it says like Calpton is Gog,
Yes.
which is hilarious, especially for the
Yeah, they're out of
Clapton
Maryland,
haters.
right? I believe.
I'm not sure where
I
they're
think they're out of
located.
Maryland. I briefly. Well, anyways, yeah, that's somebody that I would like to actually get on the show.
I
as
think that
well.
would be nice.
Yeah, because fun stuff, and it's all different, and that's why it's great.
I like a wrench on a pedal.
Yeah, I'd go for the pliers. I think.
You think?
Yeah.
How about a hammer and sickle?
No, that's totally different. Again. Anyways, okay. So number 4.
Number 4 is by Schoenwood. You know who Schoenwood?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Kevin Schoenwood is phenomenal human being from Canada.
Yes.
He uses old skateboard decks
Yep.
to make enclosures and other things. Really talented, awesome artist. He even makes his own knobs out of the basically the
bottle openers, beard combs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All sorts of fun stuff.
So which pedal?
He made me a custom pedal. It's a fuzz, and it's got it's great because he tries to incorporate the graphics of whatever skateboard deck he uses, and it's got a bunny on it, and the LEDs are just like pink eyes.
That's awesome.
Bunny head.
What's the fuzz bass?
I can't remember what it is. It's his pedal. I just love the way it sounds. I haven't opened it up in a while.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I would say it was some sort of fuzz face variant.
Cool. Super cool. Yeah, he makes fun stuff.
Really fun.
And that's the only one like it in the world. That's the other cool part.
That's really cool.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. When you buy his stuff, you get like one of a kind instruments, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Love
Indeed. Well, thank you for sharing your 4 on the floor. I appreciate that. That's always fun for us to hear. Now, let's get on with, just talking to you again about your pedals and stuff. I'm going to recap really quick. Tony is right now going to pull up the previous episode that we can
previous
reference.
episode was number 287.
Look at that.
From October of 2022. I almost said 1922.
Superhead Wonder Brain strikes again.
I'm one step ahead of you, Todd Novak.
So go back if you want to find out even more about, what Acorn does and Tyler's story. We went deep in that one, and I remember having a very, very good time right out of the gate.
Yep.
So that's why.
I don't remember what we talked about, so there might be some redundancies. So I'll apologize for that.
Yeah. Well, we'll try to keep it in the now.
Well, as a mechanical engineer, you know all about redundancies, right?
More than I care to.
Yeah. So we ran into Tyler at NAMM, and it was all hugs and kisses. It was really great to see him. He's, when we had you on the first episode, I was just absolutely blown away. Like, you sent like the most awesome care package we've ever received.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
I was truly blown away. I was like, wow, you just the idea that you understood, like, hey, this is connecting time, and we got almost every single piece out. I'm still getting some of those little pieces out to our supporters. We just made sure we got it in the hands of people, and that's what we were mentioning on the last episode when when Tony and I were talking about, there wasn't a whole lot of swag out there because I think everybody was pinching their pennies for doing the show.
Yeah.
And I hope that didn't come off as we were just, greedy gluttons.
Speak for yourself.
Because the whole point is we collect that stuff and we try to, that's what we put in the reward packs and everything, and try to get everybody's brands out into the hands of our listeners. So, and
I probably should send you something new. Re-up ya.
I mean, well, let's talk about that off the site. I'm not going to say no, but let's talk about that off the site. I swear I'm not saying no.
Todd never says no.
I just we'll work things out.
No, we can leave it at that.
Yes.
I'll re-up you and we can talk about it later.
Okay, sounds good. So you've been very, very busy since we last talked, and actually, two things that happened since we talked. So my mom lives out in Georgia, in Greensboro. Mm-hmm. And on my way back, maybe 1 or 2 summers ago, I remember I stopped in and saw you guys, met you guys in person and everything. That was fantastic. It was super fun. Saw the compound, which it really does feel like.
Did that freak you out a little bit, having someone actually show up like that, unannounced?
Well, it's funny because we used to be, like I said,
he didn't say no.
It almost was 2 times. Recently, you came through as well.
I tried to, and then I got the message. No, I'm just kidding.
I was unavailable.
Yeah.
Listen, the first time you came was you did some things, you said some things, and we just can't have you back.
Yes.
There's a picture. We have your picture up on the front door. Do not let this guy in.
Don't accept checks from this guy. Yeah, I understand. And one thing, walking around the whole place, I was like, man, dude, there's so much gear here. And then shortly thereafter, you're like, we're having a yard sale for like 2 weekends.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just like, please take this stuff. That must have been when you were you trying to get out of the repairing stuff and just focusing on the making?
Okay, so just a little sort of backstory, and I'll be as quick as possible. Like, I am the type of person that I see the usefulness in everything. I'm sure there's a lot of people that, there is a lot of people that repair gear for a living that are just like me. They, you come across a old unit of some sort that maybe it's beyond repair or it's something you really want to repair. It goes on a shelf. It either becomes what I call martyr unit. So it's going to be like, parted out at some point, used to make an amp out of, used to make a fuzz out of, used to restore something else. That's the martyr of it. Or it's going to be a personal project, and personal projects are like, okay, this is something I want. This is something that needs to be restored, and I want to restore it, but who's got the time? So again, it goes on the shelf. Mm-hmm. Multiply that by 20 years of just, and especially when you go into the business of repairing stuff like full time, you just continually acquire. Because not only are you like getting gear where people are like, hey, I don't want to go through this repair. Can I get some store credit for repairing this other thing? Yes, I can use this for parts for your amp or whatever. You have people constantly contacting you and being like, I have this thing that's been sitting in my closet, or my father gave me this, or my grandpa gave me this. We had 3 or 4 instances where either like kids or wives of an electronics engineer contacts us, was like, my dad or my husband or whatever passed away, and I have a basement full of stuff.
Oh man.
Wow.
And it was like, I would make an offer on that as a lot and acquire all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
I just saw one of those on Craigslist today. Holy mackerel. It must have been 100 amps.
An estate sale?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least 100 amps. I couldn't believe it. and like vintage, good, real good stuff. Anyways, go ahead.
Well, you know what? And it's crazy because like I never thought I would be in this position. Like I was always the person looking for those things.
Right.
I never thought I would be the person that was having the yard sale with all the stuff. Like I would be my number one. I would be my own number one customer at that yard sale. In fact, I made several Instagram jokes like I was sneaking stuff and taking it away. Again, it was very to complete the story is very bittersweet for me because when we started growing and expanding, and Bill, if you don't know, I know you know, but people listening who don't know, Bill Walters is the savior of Acorn. Acorn was going to close down at one point because I had a daughter that was born premature, and I was like, this is more important. This, I actually have other jobs that I am a part of because of that. And Bill was like, I'll keep the company going. And he did. And he knocked it out of the park. And he's been doing a great job. And he runs everything. And so he's also like my organizer to some extent. And he's at the shop way more than I am. And he's like, we need to get rid of some of this stuff. Like we have to basically say like, do we want to grow and, be more productive, or do we want to have all these martyr project units on the shelf? So all that to say, I finally, like, after breaking down and just being like, convincing myself, okay, it's time. Like, yes, I want to grow as a company. I want to have more space. I don't want Bill to be burdened with all of my stuff that's cluttering everything in the shop that is now ours. And that's the story. We had a big yard sale.
And
what's ridiculous? Let me tell you something. You know what's ridiculous? It still looks the same in the shop. We need to have another yard sale.
You got the Nashville Amigo show coming up. You could scoot over there.
What is it?
The Nashville guitar show / swap meet place.
This is nothing that we would want to bring. We can't bring it anywhere, right? It would be like the most insane. And again, they're like parts units and projects and things like that. Everything was like
dismantled
as is.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to pull one over on anybody. I was literally like, I don't know the condition of this. I do not have time to test it.
Yeah.
I can tell you that I can, I do have an ADHD type memory where I can be like, I remember when that went away. It's, it was, it has a short circuit in the power supply, this and that, and this is what it needs. So some of that stuff I can kind of be like, this is what it was, but I'm like, I'm not turning it on, and you need to bring it to a professional. But it's $10.
Yeah,
like it's a $200 amp. It's $10, right?
If nothing else, it's a paperweight.
That was the dynamic. And that's the other thing. I was like, listen, I've got this price, so if it comes down to it, you can make your money back on just the knobs. Like, you could sell the knobs and be fine.
Yeah.
You could literally you could sell some of this stuff. The fuse caps are worth a lot of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you have an authentic vintage, like Fender fuse cap, people sell those things for ridiculous amounts of money.
Crazy.
And
you had a whole shop worth of that stuff.
And also, just bonkers. And it's still.
Yeah.
So,
well, and in the spirit, so clearing that out, the next big thing that I saw from Acorn was a series of ridiculosity happening. All of the Can
you clarify?
You're like, hey, I got a 3D printer. It's like, oh my god, you were constantly showing all the stuff. You're making some really cool and fun stuff, guitar related, that aren't necessarily pedals, but people still want it.
Yeah, that's my problem. Again, the ADHD. It has gotten so out of control with the ideas. Like I'm like, I have this idea, I need to execute it. I'll have a dream. I'm like, this is an awesome idea. I need to execute it. And then people are like, I freaking want that. And I'm like, okay, let me work on that. And then it's like the next idea comes. And this is the first time we've gone viral, like multiple times in less than 6 months.
Yeah.
I have never.
What was the first one that did that for you?
The first one was the capacitor incense burner.
Yes.
So it was I 3D printed a giant electrolytic capacitor, and it looked like an Illinois cap. For anyone who knows, Illinois caps are really poor quality, especially the ones using a lot of the Fender tube amps, and they throw smoke all the time and they blow and they're just bad.
I think that's what Rob's working on right now at home.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like it's the number one repaired amp. And part of that has to do with it's also like one of the top selling amps of all time, but capacitors are garbage in it. So I made a giant Illinois capacitor. I modeled it in CAD, 3D printed it, and then like made a vinyl sticker to make all the graphics for it, and then made it into an incense burner. So it looks like it's basically smoking.
Oh my God, I love it.
And that crossed a lot of different what's the word I'm looking for? Interest groups.
Sure. 3D printers, hippies.
Yeah. Yeah. Other electronics enthusiasts, because we typically attract musicians, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So like this breaks outside the musician audience that we typically have.
Man. I know.
I lied though. I'm sorry.
Yeah?
I lied. That was not the first one. I just remembered the first one.
Oh, what was the
first one? Was the pick pedal.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to
pedal.
bring up, because then you did so you came up with this thing that you apparently got. So I'm going to do a little prequel here. You got so much feedback on that you actually did a Kickstarter for it.
Yeah, we did the Indiegogo.
Yeah, Indiegogo. Which we immediately, I was like, well, I got to. He can't just be coming up with this stuff in vain. Somebody's got it, and I'm gonna. So I'm awaiting mine. Tell us about that thing.
Yeah, so basically what I did was, again, it was just me having an idea, trying to think of cheesy videos and stuff like that. And a lot of people store their picks inside mint tins, mostly Altoids, but it's become such a thing now that even like Dunlop and other pick companies will they sell their own, and you can even get custom ones. Like you can buy tins and have like your logo put on them. But mint tins, huge thing I'm sure most people know.
Oh yeah.
If you don't, mint tins holding picks, right? So I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a pedal that looks like an Altoids tin, but it like has a cartridge inside of it filled with picks, and it spits them out the front.
Nice.
And originally I made the joke too that it had two modes, like a high power mode, and it would flick the pick up to you, and you could catch it like mid performance.
Yeah.
And then I made the video where it was like it jammed itself in my eye, and like I was bleeding everywhere. Did you see that?
I see all of your videos, dude. They're fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously the high power mode is not super realistic. The trajectory, we fiddled around with it, but the motor and the dynamics of it, and sort of the physics of it, just a pick's not necessarily meant to like flick in a clear trajectory consistently, especially with different thicknesses, different materials, and different settings and things like that. It's just not reliable. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So we pared it down to just being a pick dispenser, and we ran the Indiegogo. And so where we're at now, we're actually supposed to be done in December. At least that was the original goal. We ran into a few problems. So the first problem was picks sticking against each other. So like you can imagine that, you felt certain picks, they have like sort of a grip texture to them, depending on the material they are. And so they were sticking, and sometimes we were getting either jams or picks like spitting out multiple picks.
Right.
So then we solved that problem. We utilized actually the technique you find in a paper printer, to help. Because I'm sorry. The other challenge was thicknesses, right?
Yeah.
So you can imagine, you're like, okay, how do I solve the issue of someone being able to put like a 0.63 millimeter in here versus, a 1 millimeter or more.
Yeah.
And so because then you say you have a slit that's a certain size coming out of the top. It's going to do the same thing. It's going to like cause jams and spit. So this sort of solved both those problems.
I feel like you're going to have to make
and-
like a video about the, you know, the giant, like the mega thick, like diamond hone, so
many people-
shredder picks and stuff.
So many people were like, make it do jazz threes or like 3 millimeter. Yeah, 3 millimeters. And I was like, we'll stick with standard picks for now, and then we'll see if we can.
So that's
But let's
coming
get
out in
this done
December?
first. Well, it was supposed to come out this past December, and then we ran into the problem we've actually run into a few times with even pedals. That R&D for a pedal can be so long that sometimes like a part will go obsolete. Like one of the pedals we're working on right now is a fuzz with faders, and the faders I was using to do the R&D for it for the last 4 or 5 months. Now we can't get them anymore.
Oh no!
And so, yeah, it's just like it's exactly that type of stuff that happens every once in a while, and it happened with the pick pedal. So the motor was very small, very specific, and it needed to have a gearbox built into it. So it needed to fit into, that tiny little pedal enclosure, but still have enough torque and power to move a pick, especially a pick that's scraping up against another pick. So there's extra force and friction there. So that motor becoming unavailable really hurt us, because now as we're trying to resource that motor, it's either very expensive, so it well exceeds the costs of what we were running the Indiegogo for,
Right.
Or it's too large.
Oh boy.
And so that's where we're at right now, and I'm just basically like doing my best to either find a replacement motor and I possibly have to redesign, or finding an exact drop in and just biting the bullet and being like, okay, we're not going to really make any money on this, but at least, we'll get it done.
Right.
We'll come through, and then just sell more in the future.
There you go.
So hopefully that wasn't too long of a story.
No. Well, I know a lot of people probably listening got one of those, so,
Yep.
including ourselves. So I think we actually got the package deal.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Excellent.
Yes. So, because we were going to do a giveaway. So,
The package.
yes,
total.
the package deal was 2. So, when and if these, no, we'll just say when. When.
No, they're definitely when.
Yeah, we'll stick with when. We are. I got one to give away to our listeners. So
Nice.
yes, be
awesome.
be watching out for that, everybody. So you've come up with all kinds of crazy things, giant, knobs for things. You're at your heart, you're still doing pedals.
Yes. Oh yeah. That's the other thing. So, the next thing after the incense burner was the doorknobs. So we made doorknob
Yes.
covers that look like knobs.
Yeah, those are great.
And so people are like, I want this. And I'm like, I want to give it to you. I want to make it happen. But every doorknob is different.
Yeah.
So you have to come up with something a little more universal. You have to try to make it happen. And the pedals are first and foremost, especially the pick pedal, right? Pick pedal is number 1 right now.
Well,
So
the only thing that's
Yes.
maybe number 1, maybe more, is replacement shower knobs.
yeah, we did stove knobs. We didn't do shower knobs, but we definitely did. I changed my stove knobs to Davies. I 3D printed some giant Davies oxblood.
Yeah,
1470s.
it's super fun. I mean, that's part of the yeah, you're making pedals and you're going to make great sounding stuff and everything, but I think the way in to your brand that you've created, and certainly the reason that we love it so much, is that you are a person who is truly enjoying what you're doing, that looks at everything with a big dose of humor and sarcasm, and that's super rock and roll too, so it's like it pairs up really well. A lot of things in gear we take quite seriously, and it's refreshing to have that outlet of, you know what, I'm going to have a pedal that, heck, am I going to use it every day? I don't know, but the thing lights up with an X-ray arm. How do I not want that?
That was one of my favorites. Like,
It's
I love
fantastic.
that pedal.
I couldn't hit the buy button fast enough. Are you kidding? So, I love that you are out there and poking. You got a big bin of sticks that I think you just go, I think this one will do. Poke, 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 and you come up with something. Like the new pedal that you're coming out with, the did or didn't.
The Epstein pedal.
Yeah. So when it comes down to the pedals and such, it obviously, if people want to buy those, all of the pedals that you've made in the past, are you making full stock of those, or are you going to kind of just keep it to special runs of things?
Do you mean anything, or like the Epstein in general, or specifically?
I think
like
just in general. In general.
So in general, our plan is to keep the bass, our main bass pedals, available all the time, and that includes another
Schultz
clone.
Yeah,
I just say
Schultz. Well, you
okay.
just did, so yes.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Yeah, I'll adjust it.
Okay.
It'll say Schultz
or
something.
Schultz.
The solid state, which is our top selling pedal of all time, the one with the 10 watt amp built into it.
Yeah.
Then we have the preamp only version of that. We have the MIG FET, which we actually did a very light launch on, which is the MIG 50 preamp pedal, which we're gonna push a little bit next month. Yeah, next month with a V2 of that, and we got it going out to a bunch of demo people. So those types of pedals, all the pedals on our board that you saw at NAMM and what you see on our website, those things are gonna stick around. What we like to come in with are the Halloween pedals and the limited run stuff of the X-Ray was a Halloween pedal, right? This year's Halloween pedal was actually twofold because we do the Dragon Ball Z. So we made the same circuit, the same distortion circuit, but the Halloween version was They Live. Have you seen that movie, They Live? Did you see this pedal?
Mm-hmm.
Where so when he puts on glasses,
right?
you can see. When he puts on the sunglasses, you can see the aliens that are disguised as humans.
It says work and obey.
The movie poster of that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those are the controls. And then the alien lights up in the glasses when you engage it. And then we did the same exact circuit, but we did the Vegeta because we had done the Goku one of a fuzz earlier.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And we did a Vegeta one, which we did one of the what I think is going to be. I'm going to do more stuff like it, which is composite PCB. So, some of our faceplates are made out of PCBs. A lot of people do it in the industry.
Circuit fuzz.
Yeah, the circuit fuzz, exactly. Well, this is the first time I did it, and I don't think I've seen anybody else do it, but it's two PCBs. So in order to get the Vegeta to look right, because I wanted to do, there's a classic line from Dragon Ball Z, I don't know if you're familiar, where he says, when Gohan is charging up and he sees him through his the scouter where he can read energy levels, he says, over 9,000, that's impossible. Even people that don't know Dragon Ball Z typically are like, it's over 9,000? That's impossible. So I wanted the scouter and the indicator to read 9,000 on it. But because when you make things out of PCBs, you're limited in color. So Vegeta's mostly blue. He wears a blue outfit, and he has a white, kind of white armor. And then the Scouter is red. So I made most of the PCB out of blue, and then I also got a second PCB made out of red for the Scouter. So those two pieces are actually attached together. It's two separate circuit boards that need to be connected together. And so obviously, you can imagine my brain is I want to do more colors and things and combine them. So I want to do much more complex composite PCB stuff. And the importance of the PCB stuff for me is the lighting effect. Some people would be like, why are you doing it with the PCB instead of another panel? Well, if you're familiar with our lighting stuff, which I know you are, it's hidden. The lights, the graphic that gets lit up, with some exceptions, like the They Live was an exception. You can see the alien face before, but most of like the bones in the X-ray pedal you're talking about, you can't see those bones.
Right.
You know, the
That's why
Goku
it's so
pedal,
cool.
he's throwing a fireball. You can't see the fireball until you engage the pedal, and then all of a sudden, holy crap, this thing lit up like a graphic that you can't see on the front. It's the same thing with the Epstein pedal.
Yeah.
It looks like it says Epstein did kill himself, and then when you light it up, it changes that Epstein didn't kill himself.
Well, you know what's interesting about you doing that, and you know whether or not you, I think you are probably one of the rarer people that are able to bridge both time periods. But you know the X-ray one, you know I saw that, and that just reminded me of all the comics and stuff when I was a kid. But that people now are probably like, "What the heck is that?" Right? But they see the Dragon Ball Z and they're like, "Oh my God, I love Dragon Ball Z. It reminds me when I was a kid." So you tapped into like this weird generation span that you're able to scratch the itches there, which is really cool.
So that, and Bill and I were chatting about that, and it's very important to me. I know I talked a lot about Bill, and I wanted to talk about Andrew Elsner, who's our head pedal builder as well. He is absolutely phenomenal. He is who we all like brainstorm with and spitball with. And that was one of the things we came up with. We're like, hey, we got this Halloween pedal where it's making an old reference, or like They Live or X-ray, the old X-ray, like, Boy Scouts, like cut out coupon in the back from like 1950. What's something else? Like it's the same pedal, right? It's the same circuit.
The same thing. It's just a collector series, which is brilliant.
Our only problem are the people. I feel bad for the people that want both. They're like, I want both of these.
Oh,
but I you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that.
Some people get both of them. Obviously, are big fans. They collect both, and we have crossover like that. But it does propose a conundrum for the people who are like.
Yes. You just made me aware of that conundrum. I would have stupidly just got the next one.
I'm buying that.
Forget everything. Forget it. Well, no. The next one's different. It's just the two together are the same. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying to myself, I'm getting it because it's different. But it's not. Yeah.
Like the X-ray, the one you got, the X-ray and the Goku are the same pedal.
Yes.
But the They Live and Vegeta are different than the Goku and the X-ray Spec one, but they're the same as each other.
I'm getting confused.
So that's gonna be our shtick. Like every year, we're gonna release a new pedal, a new design, but it's gonna have two different cosmetics, and one is gonna be Halloween themed, and one is gonna be Dragon Ball Z themed until we get our inevitable cease and desist.
Is that your favorite thing in the whole world, Dragon Ball Z?
No, it's not my favorite thing, but I did grow up with it. I loved it so much. When I was a kid, it actually it wasn't on TV. It wasn't available. I met a kid who had bought bootleg VHS tapes, and they were only subtitled, and they were, horrendous. They were like copies of copies.
Wow.
But I met this kid who gave me he's like, I have a box of anime, and I was just getting into anime, and I was just digging through it, and I was like, and I'm sorry, you could watch Dragon Ball early in the morning. Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
But that's more like a kiddie version of it.
Yeah.
But they played Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball early in the morning in the U.S. You had to wake up at 6 in the morning. Though. It was insane. Anyway, I was digging through the box and I saw So you can imagine my excitement as a kid too, watching Dragon Ball and seeing something that said Dragon Ball Z, and they're all older and it's much more intense and the writing is so much better and it's actually in Japanese, but it's subtitled. So I don't know if you know this about Dragon Ball. They obviously you can imagine the U.S. edited a lot of it out. There's a lot of vulgarity. There's a lot of nudity. And like vulgar jokes like that, and of course like that. I shouldn't say a lot of nudity. It's not like that, but because the U.S. like one time they showed like Goku's penis, it was literally looked like a W, like a ball, ball. Like it was the simplest little drawing, and the U.S. was like, "Oh, we can't have that."
Yeah.
No. So they edited like that stuff out, but that means they like lost scenes and had to like figure out ways to write around it and things. Dragon Ball Z actually came out dubbed in the U.S. But it's just cool it was really cool to stumble upon that, and then yes, it became my favorite thing. I know you asked me if it's my favorite thing in the whole world, and the way I'm talking right now, it kind of sounds like it is.
No. What do you? Why would you think that?
Like, is this your favorite thing in the whole world? No, not really. Let me tell you everything about it real fast.
Yeah. Well, see, that makes me think of like, Tony and I have riffed on all kinds of like, when we could do a series thing for like the listeners, based on this thing that we love or whatever. And it just made me think that if there was a series, now this may just go a little bit over your head, so just bear with me, but I'm sure I'll be hitting some people square in the forehead. But when we would watch TV, you just had to watch what was on when it was on, right? And you get Simon and Simon, you get the Fall Guy, you get the A-Team, you get who am I leaving out? Oh, Magnum came on before that. It was this string of like
$6 Million Man.
All the things that were like these half-hour shows that. Back then, it was like half of the show was the opening and end song and sequence. Yeah. Like the actual episode was probably like 10 minutes.
Yep.
With commercials.
Oh yeah, when you watch them now,
crazy.
they're like, you watch them now without commercials, like on Netflix, or they're like 15 minutes long, 17 minutes long.
Yeah, but.
And that
we're glued to it.
The title,
and they were so kitschy. So if anybody out there is listening and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love those shows too," do a series. Just do it. You go and make. Okay, there you go. That's all I'm saying.
Nice.
Okay, this is kind of ridiculous, and I don't know how feasible this is, but I'm trying to get a hold of Jason Isbell. Okay, he's not really on social media. Like he has accounts and things like that, and he posts every once in a while. But it appears, obviously, he's very famous in the sense that I'm sure he doesn't answer every piece of every DM or every message he gets. But he made a post about the famous Billy Ripken Fleer error card.
Schultz
face error card. Can I say
Schultz.
face?
You just
okay. So if you're not familiar,
the Schultz face.
The famous error card where Billy Ripken, baseball player, Baltimore Orioles, is holding his bat, and at the very end of his bat in Sharpie it says
Schultz
face. It's I'm not even gonna say one of. It's the best error card that's ever existed. There are like variations of it. So Fleer put it out originally, then they caught the mistake. There's also, theories about they did it on purpose. We're not going to go into that. There are variations of it where they like tried to like scribble it out. So there's like a scribbled out version. There's a version where they just put like a big black box on it. Like, are you kidding me? Like it's just ridiculous. Anyway, there's variations and all that. He posted a picture with that card and being like, if you know, you know, this is an amazing card. And he was really giddy and happy about it. If you don't know, we made a pedal of that baseball card. So
Just
him
recently?
being a fan. No. In fact, that was one of our first pedals. It was in our product line for a long time. There's an OG version, which actually is with the Oriole graphics. And then we decided to hey, we probably can't put unlicensed baseball team logos on our stuff. So we changed the Baltimore logo to the Acorn logo on the hat. And then we changed it. My brother changed it from saying Orioles on the shirt on his jersey to saying Acorn. But we made that pedal. We stopped making it.
Why?
Because it just, that's a good question. I don't remember. It's been so long.
You should bring that one back as one of the light up ones and just light up the bat that says,
yeah.
Yes,
Schultz.
Yeah, since you're like soliciting ideas, he's like, yeah, that's we'll consider.
It's a funny story about that because we were like, oh, let's do it. It's a fuzz face. We got to call it a fuzz face because that's what it literally says on the bat.
Schultz.
Face. So can I say
Schultz.
fuck face?
You
just did.
Okay. So this was the first pedal we ever put out with a curse word on it, and we had a big debate: do we put
Schultz
on the pedal? Do we not? What this and that? So we ended up putting F pound $, K, and then face underneath it, and then 3 months later, we came out with another con cone, and we're just like, it just says right across. So it just makes me laugh to think about all the time we spent talking about whether or not to put on the pedal, and then it just all went out and we didn't, and then it all went out the window with our next release, which was the Clone. Okay, I have gone off on a little bit of a tangent. I'm going to reel it back in.
Reel it in.
Jason Isbell. Anybody listening knows how to get in touch with Jason Isbell. I don't need anything in return. I don't need to talk to him.
Yeah.
I don't need him to post about it. I don't need an address. You say, obviously, I'm going to have to vet you a little bit. I don't want people being like, oh, I know Jason Isbell. And then I'm going to send him a pedal and they keep it. But if anybody knows, if they're going to a show or if they know one of his texts, or they know a guy that know a guy, please email me. I will send you. I will get if it goes through, if it happens, if I find out that Jason Isbell actually received this pedal, I will give you one as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you
fair?
can't figure out how to get a hold of Tyler at Acorn, you can hit us and we'll forward that.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know that this might be a ridiculous request. I was even thinking what if we run into him at NAMM or something like that? So I brought one just in case. But I know that was a pipe dream. This could be a pipe dream. But you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That bumper sticker.
Exactly.
So
sometimes you got to swing more than once at the old pinata to get the candy.
That's right. Twice at least.
Here you go.
All right. Well, Tyler, as always, super duper fun catching up with you. We love having you on the show. We love getting into your wacky mind, and it's not, it's not just wacky. I think it is. You have a joyful mind. I'm just going to put that out there. You radiate smile. That's what I'm saying.
Excellent.
Yeah,
that's a goal. So if
Good.
that's happening, that's you get on social media, and sometimes it's just spewing hate and just ridiculousness, and we try to make it as fun and lighthearted as possible.
Yeah.
It's good to hear.
Well, okay, super duper fun. Hey, speaking of super duper fun,
Todd, there's a section of the show that we would normally call Would You Rather?
Yes. Okay.
Schultz. But our good friend Sam Jett
yes,
sent us a suggestion
Love
for
Sam
this
Jett.
segment. Yes.
he's a prince, not a real one.
a prince among
Anyways,
kings.
yes, go.
Something like that. So Sam, in his infinite wisdom, came up with a new concept.
Yeah.
And he says, Knobs, this is a nefarious game my kids like to play called One's Gotta Go.
Okay.
One's Gotta Go.
This is the first time we're going to allow a deviation.
A slight deviation.
Yeah.
But
it's
in
Sam.
essence,
it's
the
Sam,
same.
so we
Yes.
got to honor that.
That's correct. So here's how this thing goes.
Yes.
You will be given 3 choices, but as you've undoubtedly guessed, one's gotta go, meaning that you will never see or hear of it again. In fact, it will be as if it never existed at all.
Okay.
Bugera. Whatever you're going to say, it's a Bugera Ultium amplifier. I never want to see that amp ever.
It has to be your favorite.
Yes.
Is that your favorite amplifier?
Okay, keep going, Tom.
That was one of the... Okay, yeah, keep going.
All right.
I won't talk.
So in this case, it involves 3 pedals.
Okay.
And your choices are 1, your favorite fuzz pedal. 2, your favorite overdrive pedal. Or 3, your favorite distortion pedal. Is there crossover between them? Perhaps. But once your choice is gone, it's gone forever.
All right.
Choose wisely.
Well, I think the game here is honesty, too, because it would be very easy to just choose a couple that you're like, oh, that's my favorite. You know, and it really isn't. But
Yes.
we will be honest with our listeners.
Yes.
Okay, so your favorite...
So are we just picking like that general category, or are we like...
Well,
to
you will
name-
have to name if it one of these favorites.
Yes. So
And-
a fuzz, an overdrive, and a distortion. And you have to name one of those to
That
get
you're
rid
going
of
to get
forever.
rid of forever. It is as if it never existed.
Yes. But you get to keep your
I
other
don't
2
like
favorites.
this game.
I don't either.
Can I just go out on a limb here and be like, I don't like this game?
Yeah, well, that's what
I don't
Rob
know if that's
would
going out
normally
on
say.
the limb, actually. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to take that up
Moan
with
and
Sam
Rob
Jet.
would have a
I'll play
field day
along,
with
though.
this.
All right.
Okay.
That's
I
good.
don't want to, yeah.
Okay. Well, Tony,
I'm saying I don't want to mess with the guy's game. So,
Yeah.
let's
do
let's
it.
play along.
Throw ourselves on the fire.
So I will go on the record as saying I have no favorite fuzz pedal. So I'm going
Right.
to just strike that out of this. I'm going to take it down to 2. And I think my favorite overdrive pedal is the EP booster.
What? That's
That's an overdrive pedal. It's an overdrive pedal.
It doesn't have gain.
Oh, yes, it has gain.
No, it doesn't. It just has dB.
Does that like gain?
Tyler, you're a pedal builder.
well-
Would you classify that as an overdrive?
So you can create overdrive with it.
Yes.
So you can it's weird. Gain is a funny word, right?
Yeah,
Gain is
I'm using it
actually-
as a sense of creating.
Yeah, right.
You know what I
right.
mean.
Gain or loss?
Yeah, as an engineer, like gain is not necessarily what it means.
I
to
retract the word gain from the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be between an overdrive and a distortion pedal. And I mean, I grew up, I cut my teeth. The first actual pedal I ever bought was an original MXR Distortion Plus.
Okay.
And as much as I didn't know how to use it back then, it was still a damn good pedal. And they were built like incredibly well. So if I had to choose between the 2 of those, the one that I would get rid of would probably be the Distortion Plus.
I do not like this game.
You don't like this game,
This
okay?
is hard.
Take it up with Sam Jet.
This
I
is
will.
so hard. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna
Because there's names associated
regret-
with these pedals.
listen. I'm gonna call you both later tonight after I say what I'm gonna say and change,
Okay.
and then do it all, and then several times. So expect
Yes.
several phone calls.
Yeah, you got
We
it.
might need to record.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna choose. As much as I mean, I don't dislike the pedal, but I think if I had to choose between my EP Boost and the Distortion Plus, I would have to go with the Distortion Plus because I can
to get rid of?
To get rid of.
Okay, I can see that coming from you.
Yes. Because I'm not, distortion to me, I like a little bit. I like to dirty things up a little bit, and I do that usually with the EP booster. That's my choice.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So you're keeping the most important thing to you.
I'm keeping the most important thing.
Okay. I think that is the gist of the game
Yes.
here. Okay.
Wait a minute.
yeah.
It's as if it never existed.
It's as if it never existed.
Wow. It's gone.
Yeah.
What was I? I don't even remember what I said.
Okay.
It's gone.
Yes.
Tyler, what about you?
Okay, so my favorite pedals are Acorn pedals. I know that's a cop-out. I'm so sorry, but if it wasn't true, I don't think. Maybe I should make an effort to say Acorn. Or,
Well, this is a great time for you to robot out.
Don't worry, gato, Mr.
Are you doing
Roboto.
that on purpose?
I love Acorn. Acorn is fantastic. No other brand suffices.
All right. Start over.
Okay, the fuzz. My favorite fuzz pedal is the TMA1, Acorn TMA1. It's a big muff variant with tons of switching options. Absolutely, one of the most versatile fuzzes, in the sense that you can get super thin, trebly tone all the way to chunky, thick fuzz and everything in between. And then so for distortion, actually, you know what? I'm not going to say an Acorn pedal. I'm going to say the D+. I think that it's one of my favorite circuits. So simple. It's one of the circuits I use for kits. So when we do classes and stuff for people, teach them how to solder. A lot of people do a simple fuzz. I like to do the D+ because I think it's a little bit more usable in different genres, settings, and things like that. And it's just a really awesome sounding distortion. And then overdrive, I'm going to go with the
Schultz.
Clone, Acorn. I think most people who mess around with the Klon enough, of course, depending on what genre you play, you find usefulness out of it. And if I have to get rid of one, I'm definitely going to get rid of the Klon, because I feel like I can achieve all the other sounds with the other two pedals. Maybe not as crispy, chimey, and clear as the Klon, but to the point of the EP2 booster, I could probably get close with the amp and using dialing back the gain, the distortion from the D+, and using that kind of like a boost to create overdrive with the amp and sort of mimic that tone.
Yeah, well, that makes
If that
perfect
makes
sense.
sense.
No, it makes total sense.
Okay.
Todd Lee, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go with basically what is on my board currently.
Yep.
Because that'll limit the whole idea of favorite is I can't wrap my head around it. So I'm going to go with what's on my board right now. And for the fuzz, I have the Daredevil Northern Creeper with a wedge model, which is just dynamite. It's great.
Yep.
The distortion that I'm using is the Blammo Shrew, which is a very versatile rat based pedal.
Yes.
And then I have the overdrive, which is the Critter Blues Breaker model, the OD3. Of those three, I think I'd have to get rid of the Critter because it's basically just going into the Shrew and giving it just a little bit of extra tonal.
A goose.
It's a goose and some tone. It's warming it up a bit, Chris. Warm it up, Chris. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. Sam Jett, please don't ever ask us to do that game again.
We don't like this game. It's bad.
Yeah.
You're a
I'm sorry,
bad
Sam.
man.
Listen, Sam, I get it. It's just so tough. Tough question.
It is tough, especially
I don't
with
want
lots
to do
of
it.
friends.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Tony, we got a couple people to thank.
Yes, we do, Todd, because at this point of the show, there's a special group of people we love to thank. These are our executive producers.
Indeed.
Now, an executive producer makes this show possible. How do you become one? Very simple. Head over to patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Check out a couple different levels in which you can participate, become a patron, a sponsor, A hero.
A hero to us. Yes,
A hero
for sure.
to us.
And to the community.
Yes. And, each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts and opportunities to win giveaways and all the good stuff. But as an executive producer, there's one thing more. Todd, what would that be?
Get to have your name right on the thing.
Oh, where did Jared?
I didn't even hit a button for that.
When did Jared come in? Oh,
yeah.
yeah. So special thanks to these executive producers. I'm going to read their names right now, just like Jared said. Vader and Pedals, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Mike D, Richard Kendall, James White, Motander Guitars, Anthony Jamalero, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterly from Rare Buzz Effects, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael. What did you do there? Yeah. You threw me off. Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Darren Gregory, Tom Barazin, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology. What? Don Kloss, Gregory Randall, Brett Hogarth, Eric Hemmer, Stuart George, Michael Furman, James Bell, James Romer, Cameron Pampas, Trevor Ellenberg, Christopher Logan, and John Sebastian.
Yes.
But wait, Todd, there's more because there's a special group of executive producers. We call them our Grand Poobahs. These fine folks have a fez to wear upon their head whilst listening to the podcast.
Okay.
Also at the same time. Mm-hmm. So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs. Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Igreda, David Kaminga, Brandon Wound Pickups, Hex Matos, Michio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cady, Sam Jett, Tyler Casey Rhines, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Science of Sound, Brian Robinson, Jonathan Jerusik from 12th Hour Devices, Corey Nigro, Michael Van Zant, Tim Nowak, Jonathan Daly, Martin Cliff, Sean S. David Poe, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Congregation Gear Demos, Paul Von Eppinger, Scott Sullivan, Great Lakes Guitar Pickups, Matt Hart, Enrico Fernando, Moon Guitars, Adam Johnson, Eric Edwards, and David Tyndall. Thank you, and thank you.
All right. Tyler, this has been a pure joy talking with you as usual. For those who might be interested in getting some of the things that you do, where can they go do that?
First off, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on. Always a pleasure to talk to you too. Fantastic. You can find our stuff at either acornamps.com. That's direct to our website. You can also follow us on Instagram, Acorn Amps, TikTok, Threads now, and Facebook as well. And most of those things all have links to our website direct.
Crossover galore.
That's the best way to And stay tuned for the Epstein pre-order, which should be coming out in the next
That's going to go through the roof, man.
Yeah.
Killer. All right. Well, I know you got to get on with your family, and we want you to do that. So thank you so much for joining us. Tony, where can people find you?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the stuff that I do. I make custom pick guards. I use all kinds of different materials. If you have a question, shoot me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do. I might even have some very good advice for you. Thanks.
Follow Henry Cash's lead, who's like, I need a custom pick guard from Tony.
Oh, yes. We're working on a little project together.
Indeed. You can send me an email, todd@theguitarknobs.com. You can also DM me on Instagram at Guitar Knobs, and we would love to hear from you. Truly, we would. And please, we can't do the send us. Actually, yes. Tell us what you think about that last segment. What pedal would you
One's gotta
have to get rid of? Even though you love it, it doesn't mean you don't like it anymore. That's the thing. Don't worry about that. That's what we got hung up on. It's hard to not to do that. Anyways, hey, everybody out there. We really appreciate you listening, and we appreciate your support. And we hope you have a fantastic Guitar Week. And subscribe! Yeah.
Coming in hot. Coming in hot.
Well, that's a extra DJ mix right
Wow.
Like there was a issue with me peeking out. I just wanted to let you know that peeked out.
there. Tony peeked out a long time ago, man.
I peeked out.
peeked
Yeah. I have nowhere to go but down.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Of course.
Okay.
That's why we're giving you extra entertainment value.
Okay.
What do you like to mechanize?
Have you seen his stuff?
Well, yeah.
So
What
much.
doesn't he want to?
That's true.
Yeah.
I retract that statement.
Oh, that one got my ears. Wow.
Question.
All right. Well, let's not waste any more of his valuable
let's do it.
engineering time.
Chop, chop.
But
Yeah.
you're coming in hot. I love it. You sound a little different. Are you
Like
sick?
you're not annoying as
Well,
much?
Because I'm sick. I'm sick as a dog.
No, you're not.
I see.
I'm not talking to you
No,
anymore
yeah,
tonight.
That's how slow he is. He's usually way faster than that. Yeah.
I'm ignoring you.
You could hear the tennis balls of the walker dragging across the floor on that one. And then suddenly, last summer, do 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 do. Come on, sing alongs. Do 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 do. Okay. I'm so bad. And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.